Hey guys, 7 movies from the left here. Question this week was: is media bias a real thing? And if so, is it a good thing? You guys want to comment on the question, chat with me a little bit about it, and see where I'm standing ahead of time so you don't have to wait for the video on Friday. I do stream live on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/, seventh moves from the left. I start it really early in the morning at 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. It's kind of like a service to the night shift guys like me. So you guys can come home after a long night at work, relax and watch that, and maybe make some comments. Otherwise, you guys can watch it afterwards on I keep all my videos up on Twitch so you guys can watch. So without further ado, let's answer that question. So the answer to both of those questions is I think yes. I think that media bias is definitely a real thing, and I think that it can be a very, very positive thing, especially if you're trying to actually discern the real news and what's going on. An example is like, say, Fox News. You know they're probably going to be conservative, and you know they're probably going to be right wing. Even the left wing people they have on there are still pretty conservative and pretty center, if anything. But you know that going in, so you can watch it through the proper lens with the proper grain of salt, whatever have you, and you know what you're getting into. When they don't wear their bias on the sleeve, when you don't know what you're getting into, you kind of don't know how to adjust what they're saying and how to weight it. Because the fact of the matter is that everybody is biased. Some people are better at hiding it, some are better at controlling it, but they're still biased. Problem I see with cable news is you don't know who actually wrote the story. The guy that you're watching on TV is just someone who's reading a teleprompter. They probably potentially don't even believe in what they're saying. So you don't know. With website or YouTube based kind of stuff, you can click on a person's picture, you can read a little bit about them in their bio, you can easily check some more of their content. So you can get a really good idea straight from the horse's mouth, so to speak, as to where their biases lie. And I think that, especially online, people tend to wear their biases a lot more openly than, say, on like a network or cable news kind of thing. I think it's really important to kind of go online and get an idea of what these biases are, because I think it's very healthy for people in general to break that echo chamber, to get out there and look at different points of view, because you could be wrong about something just because your parents told you that, or it was right 10, 20 years ago or last month doesn't necessarily mean it's right now. And sometimes you're missing really important context. So that's why I like to watch about 3-2 ratio of I watch three things I don't agree with to two things that I do agree with. Give a good example of something that I personally did to try to break myself outside of that shell was I actually wrote a report. This is after high school on why Hitler was great. Now, I don't believe that at all. Obviously, anyone who does is probably wrong, definitely wrong. But I wrote this report to try to force myself outside of this comfort area that I have, to see a different point of view, to understand maybe how someone becomes a neo Nazi or why someone would follow Hitler's ideologies. How did this happen? Because I don't think that I got a really good education of this in school, so I was forced to teach kind of myself. And I also wanted to make sure that I wasn't wrong, even though I was pretty dang sure in this scenario I was correct. But it let me look at some other points of view, and it helped me to read the points of view I don't agree with. Because the fact of the matter is, you can be wrong, and that's okay. The point is to not spend too long being wrong. Lastly, the thing that spurred me into this whole conversation about media bias is the Biden versus Kavanaugh debate that's going on right now. If you watch a more left wing thing, they're not really going to talk about Biden at all, whereas conservative right wing stuff, they're talking about Biden's sexual misconduct accusation quite a bit lately. And it's definitely bias on both sides. The thing that I'm seeing, though, and this kind of gets me a little bit upset with conservative news, is they're actually trying to enforce a what they think to be a bad standard. They got upset when the media overcovered Kavanaugh, and now they're trying to get them to do the same thing. You can't force someone, or you don't want to encourage someone. You can't force them anyway, but you don't definitely don't want to encourage someone or reward someone for doing the wrong thing, or at least what you believe to be the wrong thing. When you do that, you're just going to make them do the wrong thing. You're just rubbing it in their face. You're going to make them more spiteful. You're going to make them more hateful. And you're going to increase the divide in the country and the media. You're not going to win anybody over by doing that. What the right wing media should be doing is saying, hey, good job, guys. You're actually waiting for facts and stuff. This is what we were wanting you to do with Kavanaugh. We're a little bit upset that you didn't do that with Kavanaugh still. But hey, this is a step in the right direction. Kudos to you. Let's keep this up. Now that you guys kind of understand what it's like when someone on your side is getting attacked like this, maybe you'll actually take this going forward and understand what it can do. Just a simple accusation. Now, I do want to be fair. Um, Biden and Kavanaugh is not really an apples to apples comparison. And I'm definitely biased because I think that the Biden accusation is a little bit more credible. I think they both were at least semi credible. But on the same token, I thought it kind of doesn't matter. I know that sounds really bad. I'm not trying to disparage anyone that suffered through any kind of sexual abuse. But these accusations came from 30 plus years ago in a lot of cases. And I can understand how and why a woman wouldn't want to report that, especially 30 years ago. And I think that it is really kind of sad that we have a culture, even today to some degree, that women still don't feel safe making a report on sexual misconduct. I understand that in some cases they can be prosecuted if they don't have proof. And I think that we should be changing our system, even if it's just a person can make a report that gets filed and sealed. That way, if more accusations come out, those people can be called as witnesses. They can testify. They can at least be a character witness and say, hey, this is what I experienced. And they can do it fresh. I think that the police should be trained better on how to handle these accusations and how to get the rape kits, how to get people counseling and things like that. I think it's really good to, it would be really good to have a better support system that women and men could actually make these complaints fresh, not 30 years later, not write a book about it, not try to make a bunch of money, not be accused of lying, because I think that's actually worse emotionally for someone when you're accusing them of lying, which is part of the reason why I can understand the believe all women movement. But on the same token, you can understand that if someone accused me of raping them when I was 15, I got no way of disproving that. That's, over 15 years ago. I'm kind of dating myself here, but I got nothing. They got nothing. Now that my name is slandered, though, I can't do anything to disprove it, and they can't do anything to prove it. And I think that's kind of inherently, I wouldn't want to say evil unless they are lying. Then that is definitely, that by definition, I think evil. You're trying to do something specifically to hurt someone. But if they were to make that report, say 15 years ago, when they could do something to prove it, they could work at it, or some other person made reports, now the police can contact them, then justice can be served. And I think if someone did something, they should be punished for sure. No doubt about it. I don't care if I agree with you or you're my favorite politician. I would like to see you in jail and in cuffs for doing something that bad. Anyway, so in kind of closing here, it would be good if we could actually empower people to make reports, even if they have little to no proof. It's good even if they can just make that general accusation, they can write it down, and it just sits and collects dust until the next thing happens, which might be next week. It could be 10 years from now. Anyway, thank you guys so much for joining me today. Really appreciate it. So I want y'all to have fun because there's no point in living if you're not living. Thank you so much. End of video.